Welcome to this week's edition of Sun News at Noon. I'm Stockton Myers.
And I'm Reagan Morse. Thanks for tuning in. This week is D Week on campus. Here's a montage of the events that have happened so far.
Tomorrow is a busy day for D Week, including a birthday carnival, fierce competition, and a mud pit. Starting at 5 p.m. will be the annual Great Race at Greater Zion Stadium, where teams of 10 will compete for the Great Race gold medal. And yes, that includes the mud pit. After the race, a birthday carnival for Brooks the Bison will be held at 6 p.m. at the Encampment Mall, which will include games, activities, prizes, and more. Scan the QR code below to see the rest of D Week's schedule so you don't miss out on any of the fun.
Do you want to know what it takes to be the next Brooks the Bison? Reporter Drew Martin sat down with the Brooks and interpreter Penny Mills to find out the inside scoop.
Hello, my name is Drew Martin and I'm a reporter for the Sun News Daily, and today we have Brooks the Bison.
I wear a mask with a smile.
And
Penny Mills, the student body president.
So, to start, how have you enjoyed being Brooks the Bison so far?
He's loved every second of it. Everything that he gets to do, he loves it.
What duties have been involved in being Brooks the Bison?
The first one that he said was being involved with athletics. That's probably the most visible one.
So then, what does a typical day in the life of Brooks look like?
Brushing his teeth, combing his hair, maybe a little dance party here and there.
A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit.
Did you have to have any pre-qualifications to be Brooks?
He said no.
Do you have to have like a workout routine or anything like that? If so, what does it involve, you know?
Yeah, he goes to the gym pretty often, makes sure that he can do some tricks.
And then what's been your favorite thing about being Brooks?
Interacting with people. He loves connecting current trailblazers, future trailblazers, to past trailblazers.
Then the last question that I have for you today is, what advice do you have for the next Brooks?
Okay, he said, be yourself. Don't be afraid to interact with all people. That's your job. Brooks said to almost embody the mascot. Like, you kind of have to forget who you are and put on the persona and like the character of Brooks the Bison.
We really appreciate you guys coming out and having this interview with us. And from Sun News Daily, I'm Drew Martin.
If you want to be the next Brooks the Bison, scan the QR code below to apply.
15 original plays in 9 days. Sounds like DSU's theater department will be quite busy in the coming days. The Student Playwrights Festival is 9 days of new plays written specifically for this event. Performances began yesterday and will continue until the 16th, with each show being free to see. You can find the specific performance dates of each show, as well as content advisory guidelines by scanning the QR code below. Some of the titles include Timid and Tentative by Amelia Faith Hall, The Great Potato Conspiracy by Brandon Bruce, Rapunzel and the Figments of Her Imagination by Sidney Dexter, and many more throughout the course of the festival. All of the performances will be in the Eccles Black Box Theater at 7:30 p.m.
You've heard of Campus View 1 and 2. Get ready for Campus View Suites 3. Dixie State University recently announced its plans to tear down Nyson Towers and build the newest Campus View Suites. Demolition will start January. It is estimated that construction will be done by the fall of 2024. The plans are still in the early stages, but Resident Life Area Coordinator Roxanne Krietzman says the general layout will be similar to CVS 1 and 2. It will hold 530 beds, which provides room for over 300 more students in on-campus housing. Krietzman shares the urgency of building CVS 3. With DSU growing consistently over the past couple of years and there being a housing crisis in St. George, it's important we continue to add beds on campus so we can give students an affordable place to live.
Utah, along with 20 other states, sue over public transportation mask mandate. This lawsuit was filed against the CDC and other federal agencies, arguing that the mandate exceeds their authority. In January of last year, the CDC ordered that masks be worn on all forms of public transportation. This mask requirement remained in place regardless of updated CDC guidelines saying people are safe without a mask indoors. TSA recently announced that it is extending the mandate for public transportation to April 18th.
Apple AirTags were released almost a year ago, serving the purpose of tracking personal items like keys and wallets. This innovative device has quickly turned into an opportunity for criminal activity. Hummel's auto repair owner John Hummel says he recently purchased a GPS tracker detector due to the growing rates of AirTags maliciously placed on vehicles. In response to the stalking concerns, Apple has created notifications to notify users when their AirTag is nearby. If an unrecognized AirTag notification appears on your phone, check your vehicle immediately. Common places that AirTags are hidden on a car include the panel below the steering wheel, underneath the insulator located on the hood of the car, on the fenders above the wheels, or underneath the bumper. Scan the QR code below for more on how to deal with unknown AirTags. Stockton, I want to go back to D Week. I'm super excited for the events going down this week. I think I'm looking most forward to the carnival. What about you?
Oh, the carnival all the way. I'm a big fan of just random carnival games and prizes. I'm a big fan of Down the Clown, if you've ever done that.
I have not. I just like the atmosphere of carnivals. I think they're fun, and it's a great opportunity for students to get out and celebrate Brooks the Bison.
Absolutely. It should be a lot of fun.
For sure.
Stay tuned after the break. I'll be back with Stockton Screen Time.
Hey there, Trailblazers. I hope you're enjoying these fine tunes on this afternoon. We're at the top of our hour, and we have more music on the way, so stay tuned.
If the character is moving too fast for their stride,
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
Welcome back. Let's spin right into the thick of it. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 might be Jim Carrey's last film for the foreseeable future if a recent interview is to be believed. While speaking to Access Hollywood, Carrey said that he would likely be taking an indefinite break after his latest film as Dr. Robotnik. Carrey has gone on hiatus before, but he says that he's fairly serious about retiring from acting altogether. So, with a possible retirement on the cards for Carrey, I wanted to take a quick look back on my favorite Jim Carrey movie, which also just happens to be one of my favorite films of all time. Take a wild guess as to what it is. I actually asked some of the staff members at Sun News, and only one person got it right. And you gotta give it to the department chair, Rhiannon Bent, because she absolutely nailed it on the head. My favorite is The Mask. The Mask is just an absolute embodiment of my childhood. I can't get over how many times I played it right before I went to bed on my tiny little CRT TV in my little jungle bedroom that was for the youngest. I had the baby room for a really long time, so it was a little embarrassing. But I love The Mask, I love the CGI, and I loved how it really kind of solidified the use of CGI on a human person. I mean, Jim Carrey's mostly human CGI, if you ask me, but, you know, I'm a big fan of him. I have a theory, though. Even though Carrey is thinking of going into retirement, going back to Sonic 2, Paramount isn't going to let Jim go so easily. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 may not be out in the US yet, but it is in the UK and it's doing very well. Paramount is saying that not only are box office sales on par with its predecessor, they're quickly surpassing the original in terms of sales. So if Paramount has a potential gold mine on their hands, more sequels are going to be made without a doubt. And you can't have Sonic without Robotnik. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Carrie return for a third outing due to a nice big paycheck. Lastly, let's talk about game delays. One of the most anticipated games of the year has been delayed to spring 2023. The sequel to 2017's award-winning Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was originally slated for this holiday. But surprising no one, specifically me, the game has been delayed along with many other anticipated titles. I was really looking forward to this one. It's a sequel to one of my favorite games of all time, so it hit me right here. Here are some other games that got delayed in 2022 to 2023 that I was very excited about. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was absolutely one of my favorites that I was looking forward to. It was supposed to come out last year, and then it got delayed to this year, and then it got delayed to next year. I hope everything's going okay over there. Pragmata, on the other hand, was announced in 2021, and it still didn't make that 2022 release date, and we don't even know what this is. That's why I'm excited about it. It's sort of a mystery. But it got delayed to 2023, and I have no idea what it is, and that makes it even better. So I decided I'm just going to anticipate the inevitable. So here are some games that I think will absolutely be delayed in 2022 to 2023. I don't want them to be delayed, but I think they will. Starfield is Xbox's big holiday release. They announced the release date last year, and it's November 22nd, 2022. They announced it all the way in June of last year. They're trying to give themselves some headroom. I understand that, but I still think it's going to be delayed just because I know the developer and they're going to absolutely take their time with this. And it'll still be a glitchy mess when it comes out. You'll see. God of War Ragnarok is the sequel to 2018's God of War, and it's an absolute joy to play. I highly recommend that you play it. This is not coming out this year. I have no doubt in my mind. Hogwarts Legacy I actually mentioned last year, and I even said that it won't make it past 2022. It has a tentative 2022 holiday release date, and I still don't think it's going to make it. It looks wonderful, but yeah. And then this one right here absolutely hurts. It hurts because this has been delayed twice already. The first time was in December, and it got delayed to April. It was supposed to come out tomorrow, and then due to the conflict in Ukraine, they didn't want to release this type of game in such an interesting, sort of sensitive time. So I wouldn't be surprised if this goes on to 2023 because, the conflict may go longer than we all hope for. After the break, we'll check in with Max to see what's happening in the world of sports.
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
Welcome back, Trailblazers. Let's dive right into everything athletics. I had a chance to talk with Ken Bieser back in January on this show. At the time, he was simply the interim athletic director who was filling in after a sudden change in the athletic department. Now, he is the full-time athletic director for the school moving forward. And I was able to sit down with him again this week to discuss what it looks and feels like for him to be in the chair indefinitely. With us for a second time, the newly appointed permanent athletic director, Ken Bieser. Ken, thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me back.
Today. Yeah. Oh, of course. It's an honor. So Ken, first off, talk to us about what is it like now that you are the guy in the athletic department? There's no more interim tag. You are the man with the plan. How does that now feel?
It feels no different because when I came on board, I told President Williams when he asked me to be interim, I said, two things. One, if I don't get this job, I get my old job back. And two, I'm not going into house sit. I'm going to start making some changes, what I feel like needs to happen. And so that was kind of the mindset going forward. The potential end to it, I think, is gone now, which now allows me to work with the staff and make some decisions that have a more long-term effect. So that mindset has changed a little bit, but the feel, the desire, the ambition is still the same.
When it comes to your tenure here at Dixie State, like you said, the Ken Bieser era, it's already started and it will continue to go for as long as you're here. What is one thing you want people to say about the Ken Bieser era, about your tenure? What do you want that to look like? What's the stamp? You know, I know we're already projecting towards the end, but what do you want that to look like once you're done here at Dixie State, Utah Tech?
Of all the questions I've been asked, that's one I haven't been. And so that's interesting as I think about that right now, looking back at my tenure, at my portion in that tradition that we talked about at the beginning of this. Obviously you want to say progress, that this was probably the greatest growth period of the institution, transition to Division I, and our teams coming from a Division II competitive balance to a Division I competitive balance. And so I think I would like to have that, it's progress and where we've gone with that and building. But I also, I want you when you walk away to know that he cared about you as an individual. So I'm referring to myself in third person right there, but I want people to know I care about the individual student athlete as they transition on into life.
We've discussed what we've seen from the baseball team over the past few weeks, as they still sit in second in the conference standings. With a big-time home series against the WAC's #1 team, Grand Canyon, this weekend, I caught up with Coach Phaetonhauer to hear his thoughts on how his team has performed so far this season. Here with us this week, we have the head baseball coach here at Dixie State University, Chris Phaetonhauer. Coach, thanks for being with us today.
You got it, Max. Glad to be here.
Really appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Yeah.
So, first, let's talk a little bit about your season, right? You're sitting at 500 on the year, 14-14 overall, but you guys are 8-4 at second place in the WAC, right? Give me a little synopsis, a little vision of what you've seen from your team this season and how the season has gone from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is to compete in the WAC. We know that our non-conference schedule is really strong again this year, and so going and playing some of those Pac-12 and Power 5 teams is a goal of ours, to give our student athletes the best student experience we can. And but yeah, we're preparing to win the WAC, and that's our goal. And so I think it's working out the way we hoped it did. Last year our conference record was tremendously better than our non-conference record, but I think there's a little bit of a plan there that's working. And so again, this year we're competing at a high level in the conference play, and I think win or lose some of those non-conference games, it's preparing us well for those conference games.
100%. You guys are competing very well, having a good season. Like I said, overall 14-14, but you guys have played a tough non-conference schedule and have been prepared to play that WAC schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys have a big time matchup this weekend against Grand Canyon, the #1 team in the WAC. You talked about needing to compete in the WAC. It's not a want to. It's a necessity that you and all of our teams are able to compete within the conference. Talk to me a little bit about what do you think, well, as a fan, what should we expect to see from your team? And as a coach, what do you expect to see from your team in the dugout?
Yeah. I mean, I think we play with great energy. I think they're going to match that energy. I mean, they're a team that's, I don't know if they're nationally ranked this week, but they're probably close. I know they're playing a top-ranked Texas Tech team this week, and they beat them last night. They won the league last year. Well, they were co-champs last year, and they handled us very handily last year. We didn't play well at their place, but anybody that's watched us play this year, when we play good baseball, we can compete with anybody in the country. Proven at Arizona, for instance. When we don't show up, whether that's one of our, we really need all three cogs to show up each time, pitching, hitting, and defense. When we don't show up in one of those areas, we have a hard time overcoming that. Just being a kind of newer, young, green Division I program. We don't have maybe as many pieces yet as some people might. So we need all three of those phases to show up, and we need to compete at a high level. And usually how we show up with our energy and our competitive fight will help carry us through that. So we're going to play a really good team that can pitch, they can defend, they can hit. We can do all those things as well. Really, if we can do them consistently, we'll be in every game and we'll give ourselves a chance to win a series, which is always our goal.
The Utah Jazz are playing for the right to avoid the play-in tournament as the regular season comes to a close this Sunday. With the playoffs a little more than a week away, the Jazz look to cling to the 5th place spot in the Western Conference picture. As we look and see, the Jazz have lost 6 of their last 7 games, but right now are currently on a 2-game win streak after last night. They were able to beat the Memphis Grizzlies in Salt Lake City in overtime, even though they didn't have their MVP candidate in Ja Morant. But the Grizzlies are 20-2 without Ja Morant. Now they are 20-3. Really good win by the Jazz. They were also able to beat Oklahoma City in Salt Lake last night, 101-137. Being able to put that up. Hassan Whiteside just played really well. Jordan Clarkson has played really well. But we've also seen a little bit of frustration from the different parts of the team as we've gone throughout the season. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert have had some things, as we see in this clip right here, a little frustration by the Frenchman, getting the attention of the 2-time MVP Stephen Curry. And, the Jazz are looking to solidify a place in the playoffs and possibly, one day they'll make some kind of playoff run, right? But it's really exciting right now, guys. March Madness just ended. The playoffs are getting started next week. Baseball's doing really well. We just got a new athletic director. Things are going to be really exciting for us in the coming days here at Dixie State.
It's very exciting, Max. I am actually really getting into baseball, which is a surprise. I've never been into baseball, but I was able to catch the game against BYU the other day, and it was great to see them beat them 7-5, I believe, and it was awesome. I think that this will just provide a lot more school spirit as more students just come to those games and get excited for our teams.
Going back to the Utah Jazz, I'm sad to see that they're trying to cling to life basically, because last year they were doing so well, and it's just they were pushed so hard and they just weren't ready to go that far into the playoffs. And I'm scared that if they do make it into the playoffs this year, I'm scared that it's going to be the same exact thing except even worse. I think that they're not going to be able to push even far enough.
Is Stockton talking sports right now?
What's my name, Reagan?
Okay, he was named after a Jazz player, guys, if you didn't know.
Yep, a little Stockton to Malone right here. I love it.
It's awesome.
And that's it for this week's edition of Sun News at Noon.
We will see you here next week, same time, same place.
Have a great week, Trailblazers.